Okay, guys, I am back. Today I'm making some jelly. I'm down to one last jar of my wild cherry jelly that I made when I was still back in Indiana, not too long before I left. So, gotta make some more. I've got my jars back here. Oops, sorry to steam me up. Got my jars back here sterilizing out, heating up. They were already, I did wash them before I put them in here. And I've got my rings and lids back there, just on a low heat to stay hot. And I've got my juice here. And I'm using Juicy Juice. You just want to use a no sugar added juice. And the way that my kitchen is set up, I've got you on in my hand just because there's nowhere that I can set a tripod with using pretty much every burner on the stove right now. So I could set you here, but that's not going to do you any good to see on the other side of the stove over there. So, and this pot won't sit there. I tried that first because I was going to make the jelly on this side and record the whole thing, but it's being stubborn. It's being stubborn. But anyway, I'm using Juicy Juice, which is my favorite brand actually to use for it. You just want a no sugar added juice. That's 100% juice. I find Juicy Juice comes in a variety of flavors. This one I'm doing fruit punch. Sorry, the dogs are fighting. I've got my pectin up here. I've got 8 tablespoons. Sorry, but I've got 8 tablespoons there of pectin, and it's just the classic pectin real fruit. I imagine you could make this with the no sugar added, but I don't know what the measurement, if there would be a measurement change or not with that. So this is the one that I'm using, and I just got mine at Walmart. So I've got my Juicy Juice, and you're going to need 5 cups. So I've got, this one holds 4 cups, this one holds 1 cup. I've got my little dish down there of vinegar to use to wipe the jars. I've got my cloth napkins because we don't use disposable paper towels at all. So I don't even buy them anymore. And then I've got my sugar here. And right now I've got 7 cups of sugar in here. I'm going to take my pectin because that's going to go into the juice first. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this sugar and add it to my pectin just to make it a little bit easier to mix it into the juice. And then the rest of the sugar I will add in a bit. So I'm going to get my sugar. I shouldn't say my sugar. I'm going to get my juice. My fiber has been acting up, so words have been difficult. And I think I'm saying one thing, but that's not necessarily what's coming out, and I'm struggling to get out what I want to. So I apologize up front if that happens. But I'm going to put my juice in my pot. Then I'm going to add the pectin sugar mixture and make sure that's mixed in really good. I'll try to do that on camera. I just don't know how dexterous I'll be with trying to record with one hand and stir with the other. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this. Record with my left hand and do what I need to do with my right hand, which I've been having some problems with my right shoulder, so I'm not sure how well that will work. So forgive me if I pause you or whatnot, but here is my 5 cups of juice. I could not remember how many jars I got last time when I made jelly, so I just went ahead and washed, and I'm heating up the whole case of 12. Better to have too many than not enough. So I'm going to add my pectin and sugar. Oh, it would really help if I turn the heat on. I'll make it a little bit easier to actually make this in a jelly. I'm going to turn it on medium high. I think mine's on like a 4. Now, I've got to bring this to a boil that I cannot stir down. It's going to take a few minutes, so I am not going to sit here and hold this phone while y'all watch this pot boil. That's silly. So, I'm going to bring you back once it has come to a boil and I am on to the next step. Okay? So, I'll bring you back. Okay, back to the jelly. Now, it's come up to a full rolling boil, and if you can tell, when I stir, it still bubbles, no matter what I do. Foam is normal. It's a part of jelly making. You can skim it off if you don't like it. I'm actually going to add a pat of butter to mine, which I have in the freezer, and that will help with the foaming. That'll help reduce some of the foam. Now I'm going to add all of my sugar, which I may need to do and bring you back. But I'm going to add all of the sugar. Yeah, I'm going to need my other hand. I will be right back. I'm going to add all the sugar. I'll be right back. Okay. So I quickly dumped all the sugar in, as you can see by the big mass of sugar sitting in the center of the pot. And I'm going to get this all stirred in and bring this back. About that, my storage was full. But anyway, I've got all the sugar stirred in, and you can see how the pat of butter have kind of made all of the foam go away. I'm going to bring this up to a boil that I cannot stir down, meaning that when I stir it, it still bubbles around whatever I'm stirring it with. You can kind of see it's already starting to thicken, which is what we want. It's jelly after all. Then I'm going to boil it for 1 minute. And after 1 minute, I'm going to let it sit for just a minute or two, and then I can start jarring it up. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil and get all of my stuff ready to go for, you can see all the jelly on the whisk. I'm going to get my stuff ready to go for actually putting it in the jars, because my water over here is boiling for those. Get off, get off. I want every little bit. My pot's hot. You know, that's kind of a duh. So this is nice and hot. You can tell by all the steam. So I'm going to start pulling the jars out so that I can start filling them. And I'll get a mat down to put the hot jars on the counter with. So I'm going to bring this to a boil and boil it for a total of 1 minute, and then I will be back. Okay, so this is bubbled for a minute. I do have a little bit of foam on the top, but nothing I am worried about. I turned the heat off. I am just gonna stir this. Sorry, I've got the fan on to get the steam out. I'm gonna stir this until it stops bubbling. Just kind of help cool it down a little bit. And switch to a rubber spatula so I can get every yummy bit out of this pot. I do have my ladle over there too, so I'll be using that to actually get it into the jars. I've got my jars pulled up. I'm going to empty them one by one so that they stay as hot as possible. I did have one tip over, so I'm going to start with that jar. I'm going to fill it to about 1/2 inch headspace and wipe my rim with the vinegar that I've got sitting over there and put my lid and ring on and get it back into the pot. So I can't do that, unfortunately, and record at the same time. So I'll bring you back once I've got my pot filled, and I'll show you what that looks like and let you know how many jars I got. So I will see you back in a few. Okay, guys, so I've got it all jarred up. I've got a little bit left in my pot. Told you I'm having problems with words today. I have a little left in my pot, so I'm going to put it into that jar. That one there. I've got some dripping on the outside. I'll have to clean that up, but I use that to hold my funnel in between jars. So I'm going to put it in that jar, and I'll just put it right in the fridge. But I've got 9 jars ready to go in. I left the other 2 jars in there full just to balance out the pot. I'm going to lower that down, put the lid on it, bring it to a rolling boil, and then process it for, if you're at a normal temperature or normal height range, I guess, if your altitude is, between 0 and 1,000 feet, you would process it for 10 minutes. I am above that, so I believe I have to add an additional 5 minutes on, so I'll be processing mine for about 15 minutes. Then I'll let it cool down for 5 minutes with the lid on before I take them out of the pot and let them cool until tomorrow, and then I will wash the jars and label them. I will bring you back once I take them out of the pot and let you see my bounty. All right, see you soon. Well, I had forgotten to do this yesterday when they were done, but I was able to scrape out a 10th jar. So I did process that with the rest of them. So it's the next morning. I've got to take the rings off and I've got to label all of them. So I'm going to do that now, but I thought I would show you. I got 10 pretty jars of fruit punch jelly. And all of them did seal, so that's what I was just checking. All right, so I got to label them and put them up. There you go. I got 10 jars. And these are 8-ounce jars, I believe. Guess I could look on the box, right? Yeah, 8-ounce jelly jars. Sometimes I don't get 10, sometimes I only got 9, sometimes I got 8. So, I mean, it really just depends on your batch. But this time I got 10. So, I'll see you in the next video.